Hey everybody, it's Benny P with Lively Legz Fly Fishing, and I just hit the water and I'm on a beautiful little stream here in my home state of Pennsylvania, September 1st, and let me tell you what, the water's cold, we've had a very mild summer, and it's time to start fishing again. Today's video I'm going to concentrate on, first off, showing you our leader setup. I'm going to go over our nymph setup, and then I'm going to show you some of the things that we do while we're fishing these little streams. I'll cover some of the water that we're hitting, which on this stream it's going to be mostly pocket water and small runs, and then I'll show you me catching a fish, bringing them in, and kind of explain what I did on that fish. So follow along, let me fill you in on some of the things that we do, and enjoy the video. Okay, let me start the video by first off showing you my leader setup. And this leader setup is the same exact leader I made a video on mid-August. Check it out. It's the quick nymph leader video on Lively Legz on YouTube. It's a 7-foot Lively Legz 4X leader. I cut off the last 2 feet, the tippet end, tied in about 18 inches of sighter line, as you see there. At the end of that sighter line, I tied on a tippet ring. Now from that tippet ring, I have 4X tippet, 4 feet. It's going to be perfect for this little stream I'm fishing today. My first fly, which is the purple copper john with the Lively Legz, approximately 18 inches of 5X, little split shot in between, enough to get it down on the bottom, and our famous pink Cadillac. Okay, let me explain the reason why I have 4 feet of the 4X coming off the nymph and 18 inches of the 5X. So this back nymph, that's your nymph that gets caught most of the time as it's trailing down through the water. That gets caught, you get caught on something solid, and you can't go in and get that fly out of there. That fly can snap off and you don't lose your top fly. So it's that simple. You just put your heavier tippet up top, put your fly, and your lighter tippet back here. Now let's head over to the water. I'll show you some of the tactics, give you some tips, and let's catch some of these nice little trout. Okay, let me get started. I'm going to head up to the first run, and I'm going to cast up into that run, fishing upstream. And if you notice, I'm going to constantly have my trigger finger right here on the line. Not only am I looking for a hit with that sighter line, I'm also feeling for that hit. Because sometimes your brain's going to react to that finger. You might feel that hit before you even see it, or before it calculates in your brain. So I'm going to go up there, I'm going to throw into there, I'm going to keep my trigger finger like that for stripping my line, and I'm going to keep up with my line. As I throw up into there, the line's coming back down towards me, I'm keeping up with it, and when I see the pause or feel the hit, that's when I'm setting the hook. Alright, let me head up there. I'm up on a big rock. I'm staying back from where I think the fish are. Trying not to give up my location, and I'm going to fish upstream, knowing the fish are facing upstream. Food comes down past them, and I'm going to pull them down to me. So keep that in mind. Fish are most likely facing upstream. So if you come downstream, they're going to sometimes see you before you get to them. A lot of the times they do see you. Another thing, don't stand up really high and over top of the fish. I'm on a knee right now, and I came in here low because I don't want to put that shadow on top of the fish and seem like a predator. Don't put shadows on top of them. Don't come downstream and let them know that you're coming. Fish upstream, stay low, and hook up with more fish. A nice little hookup. There we go, nice little rainbow trout. Nice looking little rainbow. Put them back in. I fished the first little spot here, making sure I don't blow the water up. I fished closest to me. Now I'm going to keep working up and see if I can't hook up with some more. Hook this little guy. I'm going to explain this spot. Boy, this is slippery. Seems to be the fly today. It's another fish on, and it's a little wild brown trout. and that's on the olive pheasant tail with the lively legs. And let me explain the spot here after I get this guy off. Okay, now I can move the camera. I'm going to show you this big rock. You see that big rock there? Anytime you see a big rock like that, and you look on the other side of that big rock, and you see a deep hole where there's a washout, that's the spot where trout are going to be sitting. They can come up in under those washouts, under those deep rocks. It gives them a safe place to hide. And what you want to do is, you want to drift your nymphs so they run right under the edge of that big rock, and that's always a great place to catch a fish. There's another little beauty. I worked that the whole way across that water, and wasn't able to pick anything up. But once again, this little wild brown trout, if you look, he was caught on the olive pheasant tail. Beautiful little guy. Just slowly worked across that stream, making sure not to spook anything, and did my best to catch anything on the way over. There's another beautiful little fish to the net. Took a while, but I found a magic nymph. It's that olive pheasant tail. Another little beauty. And if you could see what I did there, there's a big rock out there, and on the other side of that rock, there's a really nice run that comes through. And it's holding some deep water. That water turns really green, and that's where that little guy was sitting, right on the other side of that rock. So I used that rock to hide me, snuck up to it, threw over top of it, lifted my rod up high, and I let my nymphs come around that rock, saw the paws in my line, set the hook, and there it is, a little wild brown trout. I'm going to go ahead and walk the camera out and show you exactly where that fish was sitting, just to give you an idea of a nice little tricky spot you can sneak up to, get very close to, and catch a wild fish. And there it is. You can see the water coming down through. There's the rock out in front, and that fish was sitting right in there. But I used this rock. I cast my line out over top of this rock, followed it down through till I saw the paws in the line. And I'm going to guess that my nymphs were right somewhere in here when I set that hook. Okay, since I'm out here, that being the rock right over here, right ahead of me, we're going to go more in this direction where this rock is, and the water splits right up there. We're going to go ahead and throw up into that part of the run and see if the fish is sitting up there. There we go. This one might be a little bow. So that's it. I didn't just walk up ahead and blow that spot up. I stayed back here. I stayed behind the rocks. And just like that, Another beautiful little fish here in this non-indicator nymphing video. I'm not sure if I explained yet in the video, but I went to a single nymph rig. I was getting a lot of twists and tangle with the double nymph rig. I was getting into a lot of stuff, so I decided to go to one single nymph, and it's working well for me, so I'm going to keep using that the rest of the video. So you've seen me throwing upstream. One of the things you're going to notice, I'm keeping my line underneath that finger right there, the pointer finger, the trigger finger. And a lot of times when I'm casting a little bit of distance and that line's coming to me because the water's moving it to me, I'm trying to pull a little bit of line to keep the sag exactly where I want it. You don't want too much sag, because if you get too much sag, you're going to miss the fish. You want just enough sag to know that that fly is rolling across the bottom. Keep it rolling, let it roll at the speed of the water, and when you see a change, a little zip in your line, that's when you want to set the hook. Okay, camera's adjusted somewhat, maybe a little more level here. There we go. Next run up to where I just landed that little brownie and that little bow back to back. Get my line out of this tree, and I'm gonna hit these little runs up ahead as well. It's gonna be the same thing. Upstream nymphing, pretty simple, basic. Upstream to me, to middle, to other side of the run, and just keep working my way up. Another beautiful little bow. Little piece of equipment I'm going to share with you that I've found to be very useful on a trout stream is my Pro rod holder. When I'm out here fishing, you'll notice a lot of the times when I'm taking the fish out, I'm working with my cameras, both my hands are free. When I'm tying on a fly, both of my hands are free. And let me show you why. Check this thing out. That is the Pro rod holder, and this thing has been a blessing on the water for me. Anytime I'm tying on a fly, I'm taking off a fish, I'm reaching up in a tree and getting a snag out or taking a picture, that's exactly where my rod goes. It protects my rod, and at the same time it gives me the opportunity to use both hands on the water. Another one of these little beauties on the pheasant tail. It's the olive pheasant tail. Nice little wild brown trout, and that's what I've been catching today. I've been catching them all on the olive pheasant tail. Haven't had hits really on many other things. So I decided just to keep on that little olive pheasant tail and not even kick one off the back end of it. Same spot, and look at this. A par-marked bow. That's just a gorgeous little fish. That's a little beauty right there, a little par-marked bow. And check out this beautiful deep run. All kind of places for a fish to hide. Make sure when you're picking up your fish have a protective slime on their body. Another beautiful little bow there. When you pick a fish up, be sure to wet your hand before you touch that fish. Here's another cool tip. As I've been putting my fly in the hook keeper and I've been moving the camera and I've been moving upstream, I've created this little kinky spot in my line. A lot of people will carry around this little leather thing and it'll be a line straightener. If you're new to this, and you don't have a line straightener, I don't carry one. You want to take your hands and apply pressure to that, and you can pull that out. You can straighten your line just with that pressure, especially at the top of your leader. And look at that, it's much better. Okay, this is a cool spot, and you'll see this a lot on the streams. And I'm going to zoom in here real quick. Beautiful little run, middle of the stream. Not many deep spots here, but there's a deep spot right there. And a perfect place for a fish to be sitting. Just a perfect spot. Beautiful little wild brown trout. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Anytime you're out on a stream and you see a spot like that, it's a must cast spot. You have a deeper channel that's created by that run, and it's a perfect place for a fish to sit and ambush and wait for food to come, get deposited down through that run into the deeper water, sitting off to the side, and they run out and grab it. This looks like a perfect place to end the video. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. If you're new to fly fishing, I hope you picked up a few tips. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Don't be intimidated by these long back casts that you see on the TV shows and the movies. Fly fishing isn't just dry fly fishing. You can get out there, you can nymph the water, you can catch a ton of fish, and you can have a great time in the water. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and until next time, best of luck on the water.